Happy Monday, everyone. We got a nice little work set coming at you guys. Well, not really little, but we're gonna approach today with a little bit of more steady state, lower intensity coming at you because it is a little on the longer side. We're looking at a 30-minute AMRAP, so I want you guys to keep that in mind. We want to keep this moving nice and steady. All right, so nothing too crazy, no rushing, just nice and steady. So what we got for you guys before we get to the work set, what we have over here: wide stance, good morning, for 5 to 10. Into a side lunge for 6, alternating at a 303 tempo. Plank to bear squat for 3 to 5. Side scale for 5 a side. Single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 a side. And then a sumo squat for 3 reps at a 313 tempo for 2 to 3 rounds, taking that down nice and steady. After that, what we're going to do is move down here a little more kind of intensive, get some heart rate going up. We got an in-out hop for 10 seconds, rest 10, 2 to 3 times. Standing lunge to work on some skills there for 3 to 5 per side. Ankle pops for 10, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 rounds. So that into our tuck hollow with extension for 5 to 10 with a 3-second hold per position. That's in that tuck and in that extension. And then lateral ski jumps for 10 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 rounds of that. And then you're going to take that whole piece down anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds. Keeping in mind we have a longer work set, so if you're pressed for a little bit more time, kind of lessen the rounds of the warm-up to get into the work set. So our workout today is going to consist of a 30-minute AMRAP, so a little longer. I will have some other time frames available for you guys, but we still want to take this work set down at a kind of moderate to low intensity. We want to try and just keep it steady, keep it smooth. So we're going to start off with our trusty wall run of 30 seconds. Accumulative, so you're going to accumulate 30 seconds in that wall run. Then you're going to do 30 lunges, total count, wall run for 45 seconds, V up for 30, and then you're going to take down another wall run of 60 seconds, and then squat for 30. And you're going to repeat that cycle for a nice solid 30 minutes, or the time frame you would like to choose for yourself today. I'll also have some different rep options for you guys, but they are going to be more on the higher side than on the lower side today, because again, we're not trying to attack this, we're just trying to move really well. All right, so don't panic on how many rounds you get, just try and stay moving for 30 minutes or your allotted time. Let's get you guys ready to go, heat you up, have some fun. All right, you guys, let's warm up a little bit. Let's get our feet underneath those hips. We'll take the arms big and tall overhead. We're gonna reach to one side. We're gonna come back up to the other side. We'll reach to the other side. Back up, scratch your back, reach through the elbow, and come back up, big stretch. Scratch your back and reach through the elbow. Yeah, good, big stretch. Hands out to the T, we'll turn them in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out. Big stretch. Forward fold, we're gonna touch those toes. We're gonna walk up the shins, we're gonna come down. Framing a foot, we'll step it back into our lizard. We're going to take the inside hand all the way up to the sky. We'll rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up. We'll bend the arm at the 90. Reach straight ahead. Pull the arm back. Reach straight ahead. Pull the arm back. And one more time, straight ahead. And pull the arm back. We'll reach up. We'll take it all the way to the floor. And then come back up to stretch. Plant the hand. Step back into our down dog. Reaching those hips, come back into our plank, step the other foot up. We'll take that inside hand all the way up to the sky, rotate forearm to the floor as far as you can, and we'll come back up, bend the arm to 90, reach straight ahead, pull back, straight ahead, pull back, straight ahead, and pull back, reaching up, rotate forearm to the floor, come back up, plant the hand, step back into our down dog, setting up those shoulders, come back into our plank, tiptoe those feet all the way up. We're gonna roll up, big stretch, big clap, big reach, oh, big reach, oh yeah. Come on down with those hands, and let's get ourselves ready to go. If you'd like to do any more gentle warm-up stuff, cat-cows, thread the needles, please pause the video, take those down as you need to, and join me for the next phase of our warm-up. So our first phase of our warm-up is going to consist of some wide stance good mornings. So our wide stance is going to be considerably wide. So we're going to let ourselves get nice and solid here. Toes are slightly turned out. I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to stay nice and tall through my torso, and I'm going to pull my hips back. From here, I'm going to stand up nice and tall, squeezing the glutes at the top, and then I'm going to pull my hips back again. So again, from the side view, in that nice profile, my toes are slightly turned out. I'm in that same stance I was just in. I'm pulling my hips back to allow my body to come forward. So my center mass is still over my laces. My big toes are down. My body's nice and flat. And I stand squeezing my glutes back to neutral. Again, in this movement, I want to think about the hips drawing back, and that's what makes my body come forward, not bending over and rounding through the spine. Okay? So take your time with that, move smoothly, really take that time to feel those hamstrings. From there, we're going to move into our side lunge. So again, we're going to move from that wide stance. I'm going to try and think of our squat mechanics. We're going to take our hip down to our heel. I'm going to stay as tall as I can in my body, and I'm going to take my hip down towards my heel, keeping that knee over the toe, my weight still through my midfoot, and I'm going to stand nice and tall. Again, hip to heel, thinking about squatting, staying tall, and drawing myself back up to standing that full open hip position. From profile again, I stand tall, and I don't want you to worry about how deep you get, so I want you to listen to your body. So if you're pulling that hip to your heel and you're like, and that's where my body will allow me to go with that tall body, that's okay. We want to stay away from going so deep that my body folds forward like we had in the good morning. So again, embracing that squat, tall chest, hip to heel, stand tall. After that, we're going to pop down to the floor, and I'm going to give you two options for this one. We have our plank to bear squat. So I set my hands up underneath my shoulders. My feet are going to come into that squat stance or hip width stance, pulling my ribs and hips together, pressing my shoulders to the sky. I'm going to pull my hips between my ankles, keeping my armpits pressing down towards the floor in that nice, strong shoulder position. So my armpits are pointing down towards the floor. I feel this nice hug through my lats as they wrap around my body, and I'm keeping my neck. So I want to make sure I'm trying to keep my neck nice and free and open. If the bear squat is a little bit too much, what you can play with here is, again, working on building that shoulder position by taking the hips high and working on feeling that engagement through the lats, through the down dog, and then coming back into your plank. So the bear squat, keeping the hips low, is going to load those shoulders a bit more, and the down dog is going to kind of have more of a 50-50 balance between the lower and the upper. With the bear squat though, don't worry about going all the way back to your ankles. Just take it to where you can maintain that shoulder position and that nice strong core, and that's as far as we really need to go. All right? From there, we're going to stand back up and we're going to work on some balance. So I'm going to get my feet nice and balanced underneath of my body. I'm going to shift my weight to one side. I'm going to point my toe a little bit so the top of my foot points front and forward, and my hands are going to go wherever they need to be for balance. I'm going to work my side scale. So I'm going to lift my leg up to the side and then come back down. Not worrying about how high I get, but worrying about trying to stay balanced, keeping this leg straight, and using that good control. So I lift, come back down, and I'll work on 5 per side. Trying to figure out that balance per side, because both sides are a little bit different. And I want you to take it only as high as you can feel that glute and that leg working, not so high that you're cramping. So keep that in mind. No cramping, just a little lift. Our next exercise is our single leg good morning with rotation. So my feet are going to be under my hips. I'm going to take one heel in front of my toe. My feet stay under my hips, and I'm going to stand nice and tall, squeeze my glutes, pull my hips back like I did in that wide stance good morning, and then I'm going to rotate towards that lead leg a little bit and stand tall. So you can see that from the side. My feet are about hip width, my heel's in front of my toe, I squeeze my glutes, I pull my hips back, and then I rotate towards that straight leg as far as I can and stand tall. Don't worry about making contact with elbow to knee, just take it as far as you can. We want to make sure that we're feeling that in our upper glute hamstring, not our calf and our foot. We want to make sure that we're feeling that in the upper portion of our leg. And if you're not, think about squeezing those glutes a little bit more so we're nice and active through the glute. After that, we're going to step our feet back out to our sumo stance. So we have a slightly wider position, and we're going to work on just waking up those hips with some sumo squats. So they're going to be a little slower. We're going to take it down at a 3-1-3 tempo. So we're going to stand nice and tall, taking our hips to our heels. Our knees are going to get pushed out just a little bit more than your average squat, but my feet are staying flat. And then I stand. So from profile, so you can see that, I'm going to take it as deep as I can, maintain that tall, straight back position, and stand tall, keeping those knees out with that good outward pressure. Making sure, again, we keep that big toe flat on the floor to make sure we're keeping that nice flat foot contact. Quick little recap, you guys. We have a wide stance, good morning, for 5 to 10 reps. Side lunge for 6, alternating at a 3-0-3 tempo, so 3 down, 3 up. Plank to bear squat for 3 to 5, or plank to down dog. Side scale raise for 5 aside. Single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 aside, and a sumo squat for 3 reps at a 3-second down, 1-second pause, 3-second stand. 2 to 3 rounds, take that down, have some fun with it. We're gonna move on to the next phase, but pause it, get yourself taken down through that, and then come join me for the next phase. Our next phase is gonna be a little bit more dynamic. We're gonna get the heart rate going, some heat going in the body, and we're gonna start off with some in-out hops. So I'm gonna get my feet started in my squat stance, and I'm just gonna hop in and out. So I'm just gonna work on some footwork here, staying tight through my core, kind of relax through my arms, and just working on those feet. I don't have to go super fast. If I'm just comfortable with a nice smooth step, I can take it as fast or as slow as I want. And if I'm not a jumper, I can work on some footwork. And I can work on stepping in and stepping out, back and forth, nice and easy. All right, so really gentle, really smooth. You can go fast, you can go slow. You're gonna do it for 10 seconds, rest for 10. You're gonna hit that little sequence 2 to 3 times, and then move on to the next stage, which is our standing lunge. Our standing lunge, I'm gonna get set up in my squat stance. I'm gonna step forward and back. So I'm in this 50-50 stance. Both toes pointing straight ahead, hips are nice and square, and I squeeze my glutes so I can lower straight down in that lunge. I'm gonna turn profile so you guys can see that as I get myself set up. So my toes are pointing straight ahead, I'm tall, I squeeze my glutes, I can use my hands for balance as much as I need to, and I'm going to lower down, nice and smooth, as deep as I feel comfortable, and then stand tall. I'm trying to keep this knee in the front over top of my heel, my back knee under my hip and under my shoulder, so I can maintain that nice stacked position. I don't need to go all the way down, so if you're still building that lunge, just take it as deep as you can maintain control. And if you need something to stabilize yourself in the beginning, it's all good. You can grab hold of a chair, table, hold something like a broomstick or a hockey stick for stability and balance as you lower up and down through that lunge. So play with it, help build your lunge. We're gonna take that 3 to 5 per side to work on positions. After that, we have our ankle pops. So our ankle pops are gonna be like our in-out hops, 10 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 times. You're gonna work on those feet being underneath the body, hands being relaxed like you're holding a skipping rope, and you're just gonna get some gentle hops in. So you'll notice I'm not jumping too high. I'm keeping my core tight, my glutes tight, but my ankles and my shoulders relaxed, just like I would be if I was skipping. Now, if you'd like to practice double under timing, and you don't have a rope at home and you can't practice double unders, this is a perfect drill to play with. First off, we maintain the shape, and then when I'm ready to do a power jump, I flick my wrist and I jump. Flick my wrist and I jump. Power jump, power jump. So I'm timing my jump and my hands to happen at the same time. If you're saying, but Dave, I'm not a jumper, it's like, that's okay. What you can work on is still working on those ankles and those calves by keeping your toes pointing straight ahead, squeezing your glutes and your core, and working on a little calf raise. So trying to stay balanced between my big toe and my pinky toe. I can work on an aggressive pop, or I can just work on a nice smooth up and down to work on control and strengthening of my ankles and my calves. But remember, we're trying to stay balanced between the big toe and the pinky toe. After the ankle pops, we're gonna lay on the floor. I'm gonna work on some tuck hollows. So I'm gonna lay down, and I'm gonna get myself set up, ready for action with a big old stretch, fingers and toes, and then I'm gonna pull my ribs and my hips together, pulling my shoulders and my knees together, and I'm gonna hold this tuck hollow. From here, I'm gonna extend my legs up as straight as I can, try to keep my shoulder and my knee as close together as I can, and then pull them back in. And then I'm gonna extend up, try to keep that tension, and pull them back in. Now, if you're looking at that going, whoo, that's tough, I can't hollow out that way. What I can do is leave one foot down, and then pull the one knee in, and work on that tuck. And then I'm gonna extend, and pull in. And what you'll do there is you're just gonna work on half the reps per side, because your core doesn't really know the difference. But what that single leg down will allow you to do is it'll allow you to maintain a better tuck and a better hollow position for that nice core position for you. So play with those ideas, see how it feels. You have 5 to 10 reps in total with a 3-second hold at extension and in the tuck. So remember, just half the reps per side if you're gonna do single leg. Our last exercise on this little warm-up is gonna be our lateral ski jump. So I'm gonna stand over here for a second, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my arms and my body to get myself moving to the side. So I'm gonna use that swing and jump, pause for a beat, jump, and jump, and jump. And I'm gonna work on using that swinging momentum, that little control per side to control the lateral energy, and then I'm gonna return it the opposite direction. If you're not a jumper and you're like, but Dave, I'm not super comfortable jumping, or I have a really hard time going sideways, what you can work on is a lateral step. Still working with the arms to get a little bit of control and swing the arms and step. The other leg doesn't come off the ground until the other one is securely fastened to the floor. You can also use this drag factor and use that leg to control the lateral energy if you like, to give yourself a little bit more control and stability. Now, quick recap. We have our in-out hops or steps for 10 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 times. Standing lunge, 3 to 5 reps a side. Ankle pops for 10 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 times. Tuck hollow on the floor with extension for 5 to 10 reps at a 3-second hold at extension and tuck. And then lateral ski jumps or steps, 10 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 2 to 3 times. You'll take that down 3 to 5 rounds and then move yourself into that warm-up where we're gonna be pretty warm and ready to go for this bad boy as is. So pause the video, take that down. I'm gonna get you ready on that big long AMRAP and we'll have some fun with this one today. So the AMRAP is 30 minutes, but again, it's meant to be moderate to low intensity. So I don't want you to necessarily try and crush your soul and get this going super fast or trying to blast out a bunch of rounds. Just move well. So what we have for you guys is the wall run. So you're gonna position yourself against the wall, holding on and pressing through the wall, and you're gonna work on pulling that foot up underneath of the heel. You're gonna work on maintaining a tight core and maintaining this kind of forward momentum. So if I had a wall here to hold up, it would be holding me up, okay? I don't have one or else I'll fall over. So we wanna make sure we're focusing on tight, pressing into the wall, and pulling that heel up under the glute. So I make this nice figure 4 motion, this 4 motion. And I can take this as fast or as slow as I'd like to. What I'd like to see you guys do today is accumulate as you're moving that time frame that's on the list. So it starts off at 30 seconds. As long as you're moving, that timer's going, you're accumulating that 30 seconds. If you want to sprint them, you can sprint them. If you want to go moderate pace, you can. And if you're like, I'm not a runner. But what I can do is work on that pulling of the heel and work on stepping in those positions, all right? So have some fun with it, take it to where you're at, and just push it or not push it to where you want to take it today. Our next exercise is a lunge, alternating total count of 30 reps. So I'm gonna stand tall, hands can be on my hips, or anywhere in spacing time, just not on my quads. And I'm gonna step forward, lower down, and stand tall. Forward, down, and tall. Trying to build off that skill and that movement time in that standing lunge in a dynamic fashion. So what I'm trying to accomplish here is keeping this knee over the heel, back knee under the hip, under the shoulder, a little bit more dynamic. Now, if you're more comfortable going backwards, you can go back and work on that back lunge. And work on that nice and steady. Okay? I'll also have some different options there for you guys if you'd like. For some more options if you're not a lunger, we'll be working with that single leg RDL as well. So just as you'd like, if this is an option, toe can be down behind, squeeze your glutes. We pull the hips back into that nice hinge and stand tall. And from here, what I get you to do is half the reps on one side, half the reps on the other, or alternate every 5 reps, and that'd be fine, however you want to take it down. So if you're not a lunger, single leg RDL, but you have lots of options there for lunging forward, lunging back. You have your standing lunge and your single leg RDL. After that, you're going to move into your wall run, again for a little bit longer time, so accumulating 45 seconds. And then you're going to lay on the floor and work on your V-up. So V-up also has multiple options for you guys to play with. You're going to take it nice and long. You're either going to do a double leg, nice and tight, upper body and lower body coming together at the same time. You have a single leg V-up, reaching for your toes, and you're coming up with both halves. You can work on your tuck up. So we come up with bent knees, still meeting in the middle with my body, or I have a single leg tuck up, meeting in the middle. If that hinging is a little bit too much, what we also have is that nice tight compression for that hollow up. So I can work on pulling my ribs and hips together, lifting both hands and feet into that hollow. I can do a single leg hollow, pressing that low back down, not worrying about how high I get, but pressing that low back into the floor. Or I have 2 other options that involve just working on the upper portion. So I can lift my legs up, double leg or single leg. I'm going to reach my fingers towards my toes. I'm going to pull my ribs together. Yeah, and work on that laying toe touch. Just keeping it nice and stripped, pulling those ribs and hips in nice and tight together, and working on that nice upper core engagement factor. No momentum on that. We want to keep those arms straight and keep that just strictly to that compression through the core in the midsection. Our last option is our pike sit up. So I reach my arms above my head, I sit it up, reach my toes, and I come back. Touch the floor, sit up, and I work on getting as far, or not as far, as I can, reaching down towards my toes. I may find that I can only get down my quads, and that's okay. We just want to take it as far as we can, and you may find that as you start warming up more to that movement, you might get further and further down your leg. But ease into that one. Take your time and break it up and see where you go. Our next movement is the wall run again. We have 60 seconds, so a little longer time to accumulate, pushing that as hard or not as hard as you like. And then we finish off with the air squat. So my air squat, my feet are going to be outside my hips / shoulders, depending on how comfortable I am and how wide I normally go with my squat. But my feet will be in that stance, nice and tall, nice and solid. I'm going to take my hips to my heels. My body's going to stay as upright as I can. My knees track my toes, and I'm going to stay nice and flat through the midfoot. So I take that down, hips to heels, knees track the toes, feet are flat. I just take those squats nice and smooth, as deep as I can maintain position. If I'd like to squat to a target or a chair to kind of minimize or maximize my range for myself, give yourself a little tool there. You can, all right, that's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you're not relying on that target to sit down at the bottom and rest. We want to make sure we're staying tight and just using it as a target and coming back up. Now, our work set again is an AMRAP of 30 minutes, executed at low to moderate intensity. Wall run, accumulation of 30 seconds. Lunge for 30 alternating reps. Wall run for 45 seconds. V-up for 30 reps. Wall run, accumulation of 60 seconds, and 30 squats. And then you'll repeat that for 30 minutes, as many rounds as you can, in a nice steady state format. Check the workout description for all those different options, and have some fun with this one, you guys. It's just gonna be a lot of movement, get your body going after the holidays. I'm super excited. Let me know how it went, everyone. Really excited to hear about how these workouts go. Super pumped, thinking about you guys a lot. Have a great day. We'll come back at you tomorrow with another good little work set. Bye, you guys.